Coming out of high school, he was getting scouted by MLB teams. Once he finished college, he took a job as GM of the worst team in the country. But now Jesse Cole is the owner of the most recognizable baseball team in America, just 8 years after going $1.8 million into debt and sleeping on an air mattress in a garage. So how did he get here? And what is Jesse's secret to turning around not one, but two baseball teams from nearly becoming bankrupt to multi-million-dollar businesses? Because there was a specific strategy he used to do something that everyone thought would be impossible, and he did it twice. Well, we're about to find out, because this is the story of the improbable rise of Jesse Cole, owner of the Savannah Bananas. Jesse was born in a small town of just 18,000 called Scituate, Massachusetts in 1984. He was an only child, and by the age of 8, his parents had divorced. Now, Jesse spent most of his childhood living with his dad as his mother struggled with drug addiction, and the two immediately bonded over the game of baseball. Jesse started playing at 4 years old, even serving as the Red Sox bat boy at the age of 5. He actually describes the moment he fell in love with the game when he was sitting in the Red Sox dugout as an introverted 5-year-old with no one to talk to, when suddenly Hall of Fame pitcher Lee Smith came over and spent 5 minutes talking to him. Jesse describes this as the moment he not only became a Red Sox fan, but realized what the game of baseball was truly about, giving fans experiences they'll never forget. But before he could fully realize that dream, he had a dream of his own to live out, playing professional baseball. You see, Jesse enjoyed playing baseball so much and showed enough promise at a young age that his dad quit his job to buy an indoor baseball training facility so that Jesse could play and train year-round. And this leap by his dad paid off, since by the time he graduated high school in 2002, Jesse had college offers to play at schools like Boston College, Northeastern, and Wake Forest. He was even being scouted by MLB teams, but ended up choosing to play at Wofford College in Spartanburg, South Carolina. At the time, Wofford was the second smallest D1 school in the country, but Jesse said he was chasing warmer weather and the best offer. So on a full-ride scholarship, he moved to South Carolina and became a talented two-way player during his 5-year college career. During his senior year, he had an 8-2 record with an 0.94 ERA and even threw a no-hitter. He also batted .400 with 3 home runs and 12 RBIs. This was enough to earn him a workout with the Pirates and receive interest from the Mets, Padres, and Braves. But then he started noticing a pain in his throwing shoulder, and an MRI eventually revealed 3 tears in his shoulder, which required him to get surgery in 2007, effectively ending his baseball career. But Jesse describes it as the best thing to ever happen to him, mainly because of what it led to next. Jesse graduated from Wofford in 2007 with a degree in leadership that he designed himself through a loophole in the school's humanities department. And that summer, he began coaching some of the top college players in a summer league in Cape Cod. And he hated it, describing in countless interviews how he was bored out of his mind. But it was here where he had what he calls his Walt Disney moment. You see, Walt Disney originally got the idea for Disneyland while watching his daughters play at a park, during which one of them said, "I wish there was a place for adults and children to have fun together." And Jesse had the same sort of realization while coaching, because even though he was surrounded by some of the best young baseball talent in the country, he couldn't escape the one thing about baseball that he absolutely hated. It was boring. But he also knew that he couldn't do anything about it from a dugout. So he quit coaching and took an unpaid internship with another local college team called the Spartanburg Stingers. And on his first day, it was clear that this was where Jesse was meant to be.
So I took an internship, but that first day I was given a phone book and I was told, just sell sponsorship. And I go, what am I selling? They go, billboards, ads. There was really no training, nothing, given a phone book. But for some reason, I was like, all right, well, I'll treat it as a baseball player. Like, I'll be competitive. Let's see how many people I can call today. Let's see how many meetings I can get today. Let's see how many sales I can get today. And in 2 months, that internship, I sold more than the entire team had sold all year.
His performance as an intern gained the attention of another collegiate summer team in Gastonia, North Carolina. And at the age of 23, he was offered the position of general manager for the Gastonia Grizzlies of the Coastal Plain League. Now, on the surface, this seemed like an incredible opportunity, but Jesse quickly realized that the reason he was offered the job was because the Grizzlies were the worst and possibly the poorest team in the entire country. On his first day as GM, the team had just $268 in their bank account, and payroll for his 2 full-time employees was due that Friday. Upon further digging, Jesse found that the team had actually lost $150,000 the previous year, and averaged fewer than 200 fans per game. This dire financial position meant Jesse couldn't pay himself for the first 3 months on the job, But even facing this seemingly impossible task, he describes how the team became his life, because it was here that he realized the impact he could have on the game of baseball. He just needed to get the team's owner on board.
And I remember I called the owner of the team back then. I said, "We're no longer going to be a baseball team." He goes, "What are you talking about?" I go, "It's going to be a circus and a baseball game will break out." He goes, "What are you talking about?" I go, "We're going to have grandma beauty pageants. Our players are going to do choreographed dances. We're going to serve donut burgers and donut dogs. I'm going to get in the dunk tank every day, and we're going to see what happens." And luckily, he didn't fire me. He gave me a shot.
And this is where Jesse's entire life philosophy was born, which he began to describe with one simple question: what would fans want? This question led the way for Jesse and his team to dream up some of the craziest promotions in the country, including Midnight Madness, in which the first pitch was at midnight, with festivities happening before the game, including bed races, eating contests, and players in a dunk tank. The first Midnight Madness drew 3,150 fans, with most staying past 2 a.m. The promotion even won the Grizzlies the 2010 and 2011 Promotion of the Year award across all baseball teams in America. And fans started to take notice of what Jesse was building, with attendance eventually rising from an average of 200 to 2,000 fans per game. In fact, in 10 straight years from when Jesse took over the team in 2007 until 2017, the Grizzlies kept breaking their own attendance record, welcoming close to 60,000 fans to the ballpark each summer and regularly setting single-game records of 4,000 plus fans throughout the season. No other team in the entire league ever came close to those sorts of numbers, and this turnaround won the team a litany of awards, including earning Jesse the Coastal Plain League's first ever Executive of the Year, as well as Gastonia's Person of the Year in 2013. It also earned him a minority stake in the team in 2010, which he eventually bought outright in 2014, likely for millions of dollars. But quite possibly Jesse's biggest prize from his time with the Grizzlies is his wife Emily, who he proposed to in the middle of a game in his iconic yellow suit. And when she said yes, fireworks were set off in the outfield, delaying the game for over 30 minutes. However, it was what she did for Jesse after the proposal that changed the course of their lives forever. Because the very next weekend, Emily surprised her new fiancé with a trip to Savannah, Georgia. Now, spending their entire careers in baseball, you'd think Emily and Jesse wouldn't want to spend their vacation at a baseball stadium. But the self-described ballpark junkies sought out the historic Grayson Stadium during their trip. The couple was excited to see the 4,000-seat venue, which was built in 1925 and had been home to several minor league teams in Savannah during its 100-year history. Legends such as Babe Ruth, Lou Gehrig, Hank Aaron, and Jackie Robinson had all played here early in their career. And during their visit, Emily and Jesse were excited to catch a Sandnats game, who were a minor league affiliate of the New York Mets at the time. But when they arrived at the stadium, they found it nearly empty. Fewer than 200 people were in attendance, but the ballpark captured both of their imaginations, and the couple had already made up their mind.
So I remember that night, I called the commissioner of our league and I said, "If this team ever leaves, we're coming to Savannah." He said, "Okay, Jesse, whatever you say."
And luckily for them, the very next year, the Sandnats left Savannah in search of a new stadium, which provided the Coles an opening to put a Coastal Plain League team in Grayson Stadium. So they bought the rights to an expansion team, signed a $20,000 per year stadium lease, and brought a group of 4 employees with them to start building a team in Savannah in 2015. But immediately upon arrival on October 5th, the problems with the stadium became evident. It was clearly old and in desperate need of renovations, but the Sandnats had left them with nothing. No furniture, no equipment, even cutting all of the phone and internet lines. This meant that Jesse, Emily, their 24-year-old team president, Jared Orton, and 3 22-year-old interns had to work on a plastic folding table in a storage room for the first few months. And that's when they started to realize that the situation in Savannah was even worse than they had originally expected, because they began to learn that the city was actually rooting for the team to fail. And frankly, you couldn't blame them. Savannah had a history of professional teams coming and going for the last 90 years, and now some young guy from North Carolina in a yellow tuxedo was going to come and bring a college team here, and it was somehow going to work? And this skepticism was obvious at every turn. Less than 100 people in a city of 150,000 came to the team's big launch event, and in the first 2 months of owning the team, Jesse had sold just 1 season ticket. Not to mention, he was quickly running out of money. And then in January 2016, Jesse received a call from someone on his team to let him know that he had missed payroll and overdrafted their account. Just 3 months into owning a baseball team in Savannah, and the Coles were completely broke, hadn't sold any tickets, were starting a team in a city that didn't want them, and owed $20,000 a year on a stadium that was falling apart. So Jesse and Emily did what any person in this situation might do. They sold their house in North Carolina, emptied their savings accounts, moved into a garage-turned-studio apartment in Savannah, and slept on an air mattress. In total, the Coles were $1.8 million in debt and had to field the team in 5 months. So they concocted a plan. You see, Jesse Cole is famous for saying if you market like everyone else, then you're going to get the same results as everyone else. So when it came to making their first major decision, naming the team, they knew they couldn't waste the opportunity to do something different. But after the announcement of the name on February 25th, 2016, there was even more skepticism in the community that this team could succeed. However, while it didn't seem like it in Savannah, Jesse's plan had worked.
We got attention. People were talking about us. And so those first few weeks afterwards, the publicity nationally was huge. Locally, they were ripping us apart, but everyone was talking about us.
Across the country, ESPN, Sports Illustrated, and hundreds of other outlets were picking up the story. The team was selling thousands of dollars in merchandise, and the name was even the top trending result on Twitter that day. But locally, Savannah residents feared the name was a gimmick and would end up being an embarrassment to the city. However, for Jesse and his team, this was the turning point they needed. They quickly announced their mascot, Split, the Banana Nana dance team, the breakdancing first base coach, and even the first ever baseball pep band. And later that spring, they drew a sellout crowd of 4,000 people to Grayson Stadium to watch the Bananas' first ever game, with 10,000 more people on the waitlist for tickets. There was just one problem. It started pouring at 7:30 when the game was supposed to start. And not only that, Jesse had also decided to make every ticket all you could eat and drink for just $15, which resulted in fans waiting up to 3 hours in line for food. But even after all the lines and an hour-long rain delay, once the game finally started, Jesse looked up and was surprised to see that no one had actually left. You see, Jesse believes that fans are your best marketing tool, but you have to give them something to talk about, so they want to tell someone, "You won't believe what I saw at the ballpark last night." And that's just what the Bananas did at every game for the remainder of their 24 home games, selling out each one and breaking the attendance record for both Grayson Stadium and the Coastal Plain League. And to top it all off, the team won the league championship in their inaugural season. In fact, they went on to win back-to-back titles in 2021 and 2022. During that time, they averaged 4,256 fans per game across 24 home games, which equated to over 102,000 total fans coming to Grayson Stadium each summer. This was almost twice as many fans as the next closest team. But at the same time, a harsh reality for the Bananas was starting to set in. Their growth was limited. Team president Jared Orton even admitted as much in 2022, stating that the team was making $3 million per year in revenue, but there was no real path forward to making any more money, or more importantly, to reaching any more fans. This is what led Jesse to launching the Bananas' premier team in 2021. You see, COVID gave Jesse and his team the chance to finally experiment with ways to make the game of baseball less boring. Because sure, you can have entertaining things happen between pitches or before the game, but at the end of the day, baseball is baseball, and the rules haven't changed much in 200 years. But what if they did change? What rules would Jesse put in place to make the game less boring and, in his own words, more fan-first? Well, in 2020, the Bananas utilized a league hiatus to perfect a list of 9 rules to create a version of the game called Banana Ball. Those rules include a strict 2-hour time limit, no walks or bunting, and allowing fans to catch a foul ball for outs. And in 2021, Jesse put together another team, separate from his Coastal Plain League team, but still under the same name, and brought them on a One City World Tour to Mobile, Alabama. This would be the first time fans would get to see Banana Ball being played outside of Savannah, and the team sold out 2 nights at Hank Aaron Stadium, welcoming over 7,000 fans in total. And it was here that the future of the Bananas would be solidified for good. Because after the success of the One City World Tour, Jesse expanded the tour to 6 cities across 4 states and 14 games in 2022. And they sold out each one, playing in stadiums more than twice the size of Grayson. This allowed them to welcome almost twice the number of fans across fewer games, all while earning an estimated $200,000 per game. And this was the model that Jared, Jesse, and the team needed to avoid their inevitable plateau. And they knew it. But they also knew that they couldn't keep running 2 teams at once, their collegiate summer team and their premier travel team. So in August 2022, they shut down their collegiate summer team in the Coastal Plain League after 6 seasons. They left the league having won 3 championships and breaking every attendance record ever set, all of which were also set by Jesse when he owned the Gastonia Grizzlies. Jesse then immediately announced an 87-game, 33-city, 21-state world tour in 2023, with Jared projecting a 500% revenue increase for the team. The Bananas sold 35% of their tickets in the first week after announcing the tour, eventually selling out at every stop and growing a waitlist of 550,000 fans. In total, the Bananas played in front of 500,000 fans in minor league stadiums across the country, all while growing their online merchandise business to a 6-figure per year operation. They even continued playing games in Savannah, committing to 30 in 2023, which was more than they played at Grayson Stadium while in the Coastal Plain League. The team also inked a broadcast deal with ESPN and a uniform deal with EvoShield. And now in 2024, they've begun selling out MLB stadiums, including Fenway Park, the place where Jesse Cole first fell in love with the game. And if that doesn't make you feel good, then you might just hate the game of baseball. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe, and comment below if you have an extra Bananas ticket. I'm more than happy to be somebody's +1.